So they'll sit there and look like this, and then as the wind turns them, they'll turn into that. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. It's Saturday morning, I have a cup of coffee, and I just remembered there's some ornaments that I used to make out of PVC pipe that look like somebody just jumbled them together. They hang out in the wind, and as they spin, and if they're in the right position, they turn into a star. So I'll show you guys how to make one of those. Start out with a very basic PVC pipe. It takes 12 pieces. These are fitting very tight, so I'm not going to glue them together. They're going together with probably 30 pounds of pressure, so. I think it's probably been 12 years since I've last made these. And it's going to take me a little while to see if I can remember how to do this. It's a weird configuration. Right now I'm just putting these together. See if I remember how to do this. When I get everything in the right angles, I'll put them together all the way. This way. Nope, it's not right. I think this has to go down here. I think this is right, but you have to hold it at the right angle. So they'll sit there and look like this, and then as the wind turns them, they'll turn into this weird thing hanging out there, like what the world is that? And as the wind catches it, and it needs to be on a very thin string so that it can turn. And then all of a sudden, as the wind turns it, it'll turn into this. If it turns, all of a sudden it'll be a perfect star. Now I just need to smash these things together all the way. This is what it pretty much looks like, just a 12 elbows. It looks like some kid put it together. You hang it up, and it's sitting there just looking weird, and as the wind turns it, all of a sudden you'll have this. Next step is to paint it.
Come on. pressure. That's got to dry for a while. It's on there heavier than it should be. There you have it. You can paint these things any color you want. I used to make a lot of these and sell them. And I would take 2 colors of paint. I'd paint them all one color like this. And then I'd take like a bright orange and I'd paint the tips. So at a distance it looked like the tips were lighting up. Or paint it like a regular green and then put a neon green, paint these neon green. So at a distance when it's turned right, it looked like the tips were lit up just a little bit. One of the better ways I've discovered to hang these up is to use fishing line, like a really heavy fishing line, and then leave it pretty long and hang them on the corner of a building so the wind catches them. And it'll catch them just enough that they sit there and they'll slowly turn. And that's the whole idea. And a guy finds himself just kind of looking in there like, okay, when is it gonna turn? Oh, there it is, and it's gone.
I just love the scent of fresh dill. It reminds me of summertime and canning. Right now, I am going to be canning some cucumbers. I'm going to be making spicy dill pickles. First, I'm going to be washing them. Then after that, I'll slice them up and sprinkle some salt on them and let them sit in the refrigerator overnight. After that, I'll rinse them, put them in jars, make the brine and can them. It's actually quite easy and I love dill pickles. What's even better is spicy dill pickles. And that's what I'm going to be making. So stay tuned, let's get started. I love dill pickles. Pickles can be added to almost any meal, burgers, hot dogs, even on your salad. And one of my favorites is eating them right out of the jar. They're so delicious. Salt over the cucumbers helps to draw out the water, and it helps keep them crisp after I can them. It's the next morning and it's a little chilly in here, so I have a coat on. I put salt all over these pickles last night, and what the salt does, it pulls out all the water out of the pickles and they tend to be more crispy. So what I'm going to do right now is rinse these pickles off. Just rinse them, get all the salt water off, stuff them in the jars, make my brine, and get them canned. Pickles that are just a little bit on the spicy side. So the first thing I do before stuffing the jars with my pickles is I add the seasoning. First, it's some hot pepper chili flakes, lots of garlic, pickling spice, and also dill. The recipe for the brine is simply water, some white vinegar, sugar, but in my case I use gentle sweet and salt. Now I'm not going to be putting the recipe in the description because I just went online, found a recipe and tweaked it to the way I wanted. There are so many recipes that you can find online. Well, I'm almost done with my pickles. As you can see, I got a whole bunch more that I'm going to be doing tomorrow. The last step is to water bath these pickles, and how I do that is I let them warm up slowly, and after they start boiling I time it for like 10 to 15 minutes. Yesterday I got about 15 quarts of pickles. Today I'm hoping to get 15 more, but right now I'm working on my spelt sourdough bread. Hopefully it'll be done for this evening for supper time. So that's what I'm doing right now. Welcome to our channel. We are the Mullet family. I'm so glad you're here joining us tonight. Marvin and I are going to go through some of your comments. These comments were from when I went up to Lee Lake a few weeks ago.
Sally Joseph, another wonderful video, Mary. Unfortunately, I never see you really enjoy yourself ever. I've never seen you get into the water, and neither does Marvin encourage you to do so. Don't you want to join in the adventure yourself? And then it stops. I think it's kind of the ladies' thing. I don't know what the deal is. I really enjoy the water. Lots of times Mary just doesn't go in the water. I don't know. I don't know why.
Well, water is wet. When you're wet, then you get cold, and then you have to dry off.
Oh.
But I like putting my feet in. It's fun.
There's lots.
But that doesn't mean I'm not having fun.
There's lots of days when it's really, really hot, and like at noon break or so, sometimes mid-afternoon, end of the day, we'll go find a creek or a canal, or depending on where we're working, we'll just jump in and I'll lay in it for a minute or two, and really, really refreshing to do that.
Yeah. Michael Whitcup, I really like your comment. You say, ah, yes, I was waiting to see that rock dam. What would be a creek swimming hole without one? Never been to Libby Creek, but during my life it's been Rattlesnake, Lolo, Bitterroot, Grant Creek, and McDonald Creek, inner tubing down the Bitterroot. Sounds like fun.
Oh,
so relaxing and so much fun.
The Bitterroot is a very beautiful place. I've done some work now. We've driven through there numerous times. Did a roof down there early this spring in the Bitterroot. Just beautiful, beautiful country. Love the agriculture. It's got agriculture, it's got mountains. It's very, very beautiful down there.
And you say, you know, the start of your walk to the creek reminded me of the smell of Montana evergreens. I miss that unique summer smell that almost only western Montana has. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, western Montana and Idaho, they kind of have, the forest kind of has a unique smell, especially this time of year. We had a lot of fires and smoke. It was really, really smoky here about a week ago, to the point where you walked outside, you could smell it, you could see it, you could see it within 100 yards. It was like haze. Then the wind changed, and it kind of comes and goes. But it's that time of year. But amazingly, the last day and a half, or about 3 days ago, we had like a most of the day rain. Then we got a break, and then I was working in Butte, and Mary said, it's just raining. It's raining so much there's water sitting around. Like, what? In August? And then Sunday, it rained. Just drizzled most of the day, amazingly. And the grass is open both eyes and looking up like, hey, is it fall yet? You know?
Well, and for some people who might not know, maybe you're in the eastern states where it rains a lot. Here, we have a rainy season and a very, very dry season where we tend to have a lot of fires. And right now is our dry season. So if we have rain, that's a big deal.
Now, July and August, generally, you hardly get any rain.
Yep.
And this year's kind of been dry. Like April, May, June can be really wet. Just consecutive days of rain. Never really got that. And the grass that we planted here didn't get established the way I had hoped it would. It was dry, and then it finally did rain. It greened up, and then all of a sudden it got really warm. We've been watering what we can, but we can only water about an hour and a half. You know, maybe 3 hours a day is about all we can water, and that doesn't cover the area that we have.
Yep. And Michael, you asked, ever made whole wheat sourdough burger buns? You know, I'm not sure if I have. I probably made whole wheat buns. I'm not sure if I made sourdough burger buns.
Now listen to this: elk burger patties, Swiss cheese, sauteed mushrooms, and onions. I just ate. Man, that sounds good.
Yes. Elk.
Talking about elk burger. Just the other day, Mary took the boys to Kalispell do some shopping. I was hungry, and Mary had a container of elk back strap that was in there, so I fried that up just like we do at elk camp when we get something, which is olive oil and black pepper. Man, that was good. Elk season's almost here, about a month, less than a month away.
Yep, it's that time of the year when I need to get the old meat out of our freezer, can it, make room for this year's elk and deer.
Approximately 2 weeks ago, there's an elderly gentleman that used to live in this community, but due to health reasons, they moved down to southern Idaho to live with their daughter and her husband's family. Anyway, he passed away, so he got, the funeral was up here. We had the burial up here. Kind of a large event. This is just the way we do it. You know, the community gets together. We dig the hole. One of the elderly men in our community here builds the caskets. Me and a couple other guys were in charge of getting the hole dug, getting the rough box in, getting all the preparations and everything, getting everything lined up. It's not like we have a funeral director and they take care of everything. That stuff is all done in-house in the community. So the whole community chipped together, and then there's food that gets brought in. All the ladies usually get, you know, somebody comes up with the itinerary. There's family showing up, and so that's, you know, a funeral like that is kind of a big ordeal. So we have our own, like the church, the school, the cemetery is all on the same grounds. And so this funeral and everything, the burial was right there, everything right at our community. And this gentleman, his name was Roy Yoder. I first met him when I was in 2nd grade. We lived in the same community in Michigan. That would have been from 85 to 88. And I had lost contact with them and their kids for many years, and then they ended up moving out here. Mary knew them. Yeah, so we've known them, they're Roy and Mary, for many, many years. Unfortunately, Roy, he used to build hickory rockers, and he would go to Iowa like once or twice a year with a gooseneck trailer and get a whole load of the correct sizes of hickory. Hickory rockers, young hickory trees, whatever sizes he needed to build his chairs and furniture. And when he was there, one of the times he went back, he got a tick bite. And it had the red bullseye. Didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't know to do anything about it. So
by the time he started having symptoms like advanced, they realized he had Lyme's. He also had Parkinson's. The last 5, 6, 7 years. So
Roy was my mentor. He was my pastor. He was a person I looked up to almost all of my life. I knew him probably the first time I met Roy was when I was around 11 years old, and I've known him ever since. So he was an amazing preacher, a pastor. Roy Yoder impacted many, many people for the kingdom of God. He was a pillar in God's kingdom.
He was one of those guys that I think he had the whole Bible in his head and he knew all the references.
He
if
could
you
quote
didn't
scripture.
know something or whatever, he would know exactly.
So we hope you enjoyed this content. We hope you like our videos. I know we've been a little bit slow, but again, it's summertime and we're busy, but we're going to keep them coming. Stay tuned, and please don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, and leave a comment.